In this video, I'm just going to go back over some of the things that I have already talked about with regards to the project, but just to show it in a different context so people can see it another way. I've created a brand new map here. It's an orienteering map I'm going to be working on this Saturday. And let's imagine that I want to create a layer that I will be able to collect data on for this particular map. I'm going to go ahead and just drop a pin first, and I'm going to do it at this one location right here. And go ahead and call this first one feature number 1, because I'm collecting features of information here that are going to go on the map. I'm going to change the symbol, and I'm going to give it this blue color here so it shows up just a little bit better in the map. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on that so that we can see that it's right there. I'm going to go back in and edit that feature, though. I can add a description if I want to. This particular feature is going to be located at the viewpoint. This is really just for myself, so I remember where this particular piece of data is. So there's the viewpoint right there. Now I can go ahead and add different types of attributes here. And this is going to require you to mess around a little bit to figure out what attributes you want. I'm going to give the name of this particular layer, because you can see I've opened a new layer here, the name features. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to link it to the map. It's already linked to the Settlers Bay one. But I'm going to add some attribute schema. And this is the place where you're going to add character data or some sort of numerical data or a Boolean data. I'll go ahead and add one right here. And this new attribute, I'm just going to call it type for the type of feature that we're collecting. And I'm going to keep it as a string. It's there right now. And I want it to be a pick list. So I'm going to go ahead and add that pick list. Then I'm going to add some character strings to it. I'm going to say one of the options could be a trail. And I'm going to add something else to the pick list. And I'm going to say this could be a pond. Or this could be vegetation. There we go, vegetation. So now you can see I've got string attribute data and a pick list here as well. So I've edited this. I'm good with that, so I'm going to go back here. So I have one type of data that I'm going to be collecting. Now let's add something else. And I'm going to make this one a Boolean one. And I'm going to ask, is this a mapped feature or not? In other words, do I need to go in and make a change to it in the map? And so I'm going to give that Boolean right there. And now that's been added as a type 2. You can see it right down there. The mapped feature and the type. And I'm just going to go ahead and add one more feature right here. And I'm going to go ahead and add vegetation cover. And for this one, I'm going to make it a real number, which means it's going to be added as some sort of percentage when I do that. If it were an integer, it would be a whole number. But I'm just going to call it that right there. So now if I go to this particular feature right now, I can first ask the question, is it featured, yes or no? And I can choose yes. What type of feature is it? It's a trail. What's the vegetation cover? And here I can go ahead and say it's 0.69, 69%. And that feature now is mapped with all that data in it. So that place mark is done. Now I can go and add another feature over here. I can do the same thing. I can drop the pin. I can add the place mark, choose what I want it to be, and you'll see that this data is all located down here. So I can't remember now exactly what I called this, but I'll call it feature 2. And the description, I'm just going to call the description swamp. I'll remember that that was a swampy area I was in before. And now I can go ahead and I can add the information I need. Now, one attribute that you should definitely have here will be the accuracy of your phone. I didn't put that in right now. Again, I'm inside, so I can't quite do that. But I'm going to go ahead and say, is this a map feature? And this time I'll say, no, it isn't. What type of a feature? Well, I'll say it's a pond. Of course, it's actually a swamp, but this is just for illustration purposes. Vegetation cover, well, it's perfectly clear there. You can see it. It had a recently entered value, but I'm just going to say it's only 5%. And I can build up all of these place marks, so eventually you'll have a layer full of information like this. So once you've done that, you've added these attributes, and obviously you're not going to get it done in one sitting. You're going to have to experiment with this a little bit to get everything you want. Then you can go ahead and download these data. And to download the data, you're going to be downloading the layer of data, not the map itself, but actually the layer. So if we go down here to the layer area, click the wrong thing there, and see what the active layer is, then you should be able to export that layer. And you can export it, well, you'll have to export it as a KML and also as a CSV. And then that will be something that you can open up in Google Earth, the KML, or the CSV as a spreadsheet. And I'm not going to show you that right now because it would require me bringing everything up. I just also wanted to point out to everyone there's metadata for this map right here under the information. It's really simple, this one is. It just shows that the geographic coordinate systems are WGS 84, as is the datum. It doesn't tell anything about the type of projection, and that's because I made the map and didn't input the metadata myself. This happens to be a UTM map, though. I happen to know that. And if I'd been doing this formally, I would have added that metadata before I actually put it up here. And yeah, this hopefully helps to clarify things. Again, as I said before, I'm always more than willing to answer your questions. I can do a Zoom call with you. I can show you my phone again. And then, of course, I'll have the lab up and going tomorrow if you have any questions then. Feel free to follow up. Please, in fact, do follow up.